All right, I think I'm live. It should be coming to LinkedIn and YouTube. If anybody's there and is watching, please say hello and chat and interact. It'd be great to say hi. Ah, goodness gracious. This is episode 22 of this vlog. I cannot for the life of me keep a weekly pace on this show. It's a personal thing I've wanted to do. I am keeping up with the data, so it's not like the data is suffering as a result, but it definitely is just hard to bring myself to do it, especially this time of year. A couple things are playing out. You have a bit of a cumulative fatigue, I think, that has set in at this point for me every year. I'm starting to notice it. I'm starting to be affected by it more and more. I'm starting to wish I wasn't dealing with it more and more. But as I say this, I and you'll see it in the numbers here. This is the beginning of just the crazy, crazy, crazy time. It's typically when Beyond is happening in Europe. So now it's 2 years in a row that I'll be going there. But before that, it was Australia around this time. So it's kind of like one of those like right at the end of the year sprints. I think I go to Phoenix next week early, and then I don't think I come home for anything more than a day for 8 weeks, something like 48 days, something in that nature. Um, and then I'm done late November. So it's kind of the other aspect that's starting to play out is that, you know, 4 years ago, I guess I've done this now for 5 years, but 4 years ago when I started doing this, um, the year would kind of begin in January, February, March, like I guess March really, and then go through about October, late October. Now it's like goes till late November and starts sometime around, mid January or so. Now I'm starting to have shows and things to go to. And so it's kind of just one of those things, a byproduct of I don't say no well, and then the years getting shorter and shorter from just how many more events there are. And I've skipped a lot this year. I've skipped events this year that I would have gone to last year and shifted priorities, shifted focuses, those kind of things. But anyways, it is September. We are in the last quarter of the year. I have been tracking my stats, and that was what this vlog started as. It's really just kind of where am I? What have I been doing? What have I been up to as a way to both memorialize it, but also kind of spread the things and spread awareness of kind of where I've been and what I'm doing, what's coming up. So far, as of September 11th, I have now given 140 presentations this year. So I did another 8 over the last 3 weeks. I think I streamed on August 21st. I'm here giving one now. I have given 5 more hours of educational content. I think it was a 3 and a 2, 3 hours. I did this really cool workshop last week in Kelowna. No, not last week. What is it now? Sunday technically is this week. So Sunday in Kelowna, Canada. It was really good. Lots of good questions. Different maturity curve. I've done this now 4 times. The first time I did it was at Wild West Hack and Fest, and maybe that was a spoiling me moment because it was just so nerdy and nuanced, and so many people would disagree with what I believed and agree with what they believed, or give context or help me understand something better in some way. Because the purpose of it is like looking at modern breaches and then making some assumption of what failed in the safeguard or CIS safeguard. And so it was really good because at Wild West Hack and Fest, you have so many people that have deep tactical knowledge and technical knowledge around what's happening there. And so it's very nuanced. In Kelowna, I didn't have that same nuance, and yet I had almost a different value out of it, which was the beginner's mind seemed to play out quite a bit. There were a lot of people that weren't very familiar with the CIS safeguards, but that meant they got to dream about the challenges and things, and it went really well. So we had a very good conversation there. The other neat thing was I built a tool for framework mapping of tools to the safeguards they support, and it sucks at it in its native format. I know what I need to do to fix it now, but I built an MCP server that would give you all the context and information and contextual anchors about a safeguard, so that you could then try to determine whether or not a tool or service did that safeguard. What I've actually found it's really good at, though, is hey, a user left their laptop open and did not have anti-malware installed on their machine. What safeguards are likely failing, right? And did not have an automatic session lock, and did not have, and it'll just break down each one of the ones where there was probably a governance failure, where there was probably a technical failure from a technical control perspective or an administrative control. It does it pretty good because it just grabs the context of each of those and then parses through them to see what is contextually relevant to the context that's already kind of discerned from the failure of the human. It's just really neat. It works really great that way, but not the other way. So that was fun. But to the point, when I'm doing my live class that I'm asking people who may not be as familiar with CIS, the MCP combined with Claude as an LLM with an agent structure does a pretty good job of like helping them understand what potential failures there might be. I was quite surprised at how good it was at that. So first time I got to test that. But back to the numbers, 140 presentations. and maybe I'm still going to go on another tangent. I did a talk last year where a title company specific MSP, Premier One, I love them to death, Sean Fox over there, asked me to do something creative. He said, Matt, like, will you talk about seller impersonation fraud? But if you will, like, do it as a talk like you would give. I was like, well, A, what does that mean? But B, okay, I'm in. And so I got in. I interviewed a couple of victims of seller impersonation fraud about what their victimhood was and what they dealt with. And I used those as part of the sprinkle of the story. Read a couple of the FBI reports on some of the kind of what kind of things you needed to do to protect yourself, and then discerned what I would need to do to kind of do that as an attack vector. And so I did a talk last November, and I stole a house from an old man named Chester James Reed III. Not the fourth. His son was the fourth, and his grandson was the bastard child that didn't take the fifth somehow, I guess, in that world. But ultimately, like, I did this talk. I showed the tradecraft, how I would approach it, how I would egress the funds, how I would wash the funds, what I would do with it, like, and just kind of expose people to that. The talk was well received last November. A few people reached out and said, hey, we'd love for you to come do this. And my mission is predominantly, MSP, SMB serving space. But now I kind of have this like core competency that I'm doing. And I got asked to talk at Florida Land Title Association and ALTA, the U.S.'s American Land Title Association, and now Vail, LTAC, or Land Title Association of Colorado. And so I did a talk there in Vail last week, and then flew to Kelowna. And in between there, and I'll get to that in a minute, I guess, on the cities. But yeah, so I got to talk in Vail, and then when I was talking in Vail, they wanted me to come talk in, I don't know, Oklahoma and some other places. And the problem is, like, I don't think that meets my direct mission mandate, but it does help SMB. It does help end consumership. And so I'm kind of in a weird balance where I don't know what I want to do about that. And after just saying that, I'm maybe a little burned out. So I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, so that was fun. What other presentations happened in that time frame? A couple of games, the live game. I got to do a game with Ashley, one of my people I look up to very much, just the way her brain works and how quickly she can jump in and do something new, along with Jason Slagle and so many others. They're in that same category. But ultimately, yeah, I got to stream with Ash. That was super fun. I got to stream with William Fielder. That was super fun. He's went on about Red Hat Enterprise Linux and some challenges that people are just not turning on basic functions, or actually even worse, turning off basic security functions because it's just convenient, or they've been told that for 20 years or whatever. But anyways, yeah, so that was fun. Other streams, that's pretty much it. Like, it's just been kind of like I said, I only added 8 presentations in almost 3 weeks. I normally do 5 a week, so we're kind of tapering down a bit. A lot of flying. Yeah, the other 2 hours was the beginning of a policy course I do with Sheldon Phillips. And so we're going to finish that up next week. I think it is next Monday. 9 flights. So it puts us at 83 flights this year. It's extremely likely that I'm going to cross 110 flights with Kat this year. And this is the first year Kat's at exactly the same number of flights as me. I don't think she's missed a single flight. She's right there. No. And she doesn't want to talk. No. Do you talk? Hi, talkie. Have you missed any flights this year?
No.
No. And so this is the first year we've literally gotten to live that dream of nobody gets pulled in something else, or there's not a time where we can't get the flight, or I know we've had a couple weird challenges, but ultimately we're at 83 flights together. We're at 106 nights in hotels. There's 18 nights in a hotel since you last talked to me 21 days ago or 20 something days ago. The reason for that is both that I'm stupid and I'm stupid. I don't say no well, so obviously everything's packed together. But then in the 1 week that I did have, that I took a vacation, I just went places. I went and saw all of my best friends, right? Like, for the most part, at least the northern best friends. I went and saw Tom Lawrence and Cass Lawrence up at their house, rode dirt bikes. It was a blast. Rode hooligan bikes in Detroit. Actually ended up just taking the mini moto Monday with Tom and Cass, and watching idiots ride scooters in wheelies with neckties on them all throughout the streets of Detroit. And I certainly didn't break any laws on camera, I promise, or maybe I did. But anyways, it was a blast. Got to ride on sidewalks, jump off wheelchair ramps, all the fun things you shouldn't do in a city on a dirt bike. And then after that, went to see Jason Slagle and Heather and their children, and hang out for a day or so, 2 days, and just kind of see my buddies there. We see them a lot. We get to see Jason and Heather and the children quite a bit. We do a lot of things together from a work perspective. We always extend them into personal time, and so it's just really refreshing. And then ran up, and it was really cool. We took the Steam. It's the last coal-fired ship in the United States operating, and it is also a part of a named interstate system or highway system. It goes across from Manitowoc to
Ludington.
Ludington, or Ludington to Manitowoc, one of the two, and vice versa, or both technically. But we went from east to west, and then went up to State Park up in northern Michigan in the Upper Peninsula, JW Wells, to hang out with a good friend of mine, Jason Farmer, and his wife, who have just had a baby. And actually, every single human they know has had a baby. So it was a park filled with babies and humans. I guess baby humans and other adult humans. But ultimately, that was our vacation. We got back. We had 2 days at home after that. And then we took off to Vail, came back for about 15 hours. I had actually thought it was 21 hours, but from landing to next boarding, it was 15 hours. So we had to get home, change, pack, get some semblance of like a moment alone and not doing stuff with demands and things and calls to actions. That was awesome. And then turned back around Saturday morning and flew to Kelowna. Did my class on Sunday, did some stuff on Monday, flew again on Tuesday, did some things yesterday here Wednesday, and now today I'm on stage in Boston. So I've gone from Vail mountains and mountain time to Kelowna mountains and Pacific time, or at least kind of valley between mountains and Pacific time, and then to Boston Eastern time, and I'll jump back to another time zone after that. So it's ultimately just kind of it's been a week or two or 4 or 6 or so. Starting after this, I go home. I have, I think, 4 days at home or something. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So 5 days at home, something, I think. 5 days at home. And then we go to Phoenix, Arizona, to go do a tabletop exercise for CMIT, which is going to be a blast. And then after that, come back home. And I think I actually get 2 weeks at home to focus before October X. It takes off and goes nuts for 8 weeks. So yeah, that's pretty much where we've been. Did one more trip by Jeep, our vacation. We drove all around the country hauling 4 motorcycles, 4 bicycles, and a dog, and my dad and my wife and I, and my son drove his car. So we had an awesome road trip. That was really, really, really fun. It was recharging, but yet not enough, because it was also in its own way exhaustive. I mean, we worked out every day. We did all the things. It was great. And I guess maybe this is a good time to say, since I am in this kind of risk of oversharing, is like, Kat and I've now been working out every day for about like 6 or 7 weeks. What's up, Julian? How are you, buddy? Good to see you. I saw you at IT Nation or Can IT Con. I will not be at DattoCon this year, Julian. But anyways, yeah. So we've been working out. Mental health's great. Physical health's great in that way, I suppose. And just trying to push through the rest of the year. 61 cities visited now. 78 ride shares, 106 nights in hotels, and 83 flights rounds us out on September 11th. And since it is September 11th, I think one of the things that I will do, and this is, not to trigger, but like reminisce, it's September 11th, 9/11, 2001 was, I remember where I was, as many of you do, I would imagine, and the closer and proximal you were to the city, I would imagine you really know where you were. Like Robert Chaffee and others. But yeah, for me, I had just gotten appointed as Series 7 stockbrokers at American Express Financial Advisors, AFA, that day. I believe it was actually literally the day I was appointed. So that was horrifying. And I had gone into the office. Kat was at home, and the TV came on. And, it's just those collective moments of shock, those collective moments of where a whole nation can remember something. My mom always mentioned it as Kennedy being assassinated. Now, obviously 9/11 and so many other moments for so many people. But anyways, just interesting, the dynamics of humanity when something that big happens, everything stops. Just like being in a hurricane in a city, right? Everything stops. There is some degree of collectivism that comes from that. But anyways, just want to, think about those that suffered and fell and that moment for just a sec. And I'll just do a moment of silence. And we'll move on. Yeah. So anyways, just want to respect what has happened before. But yeah, hopefully I'll see some of y'all out on the road. It's going to be a wild few months. And yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody. And I hope that you have a wonderful week and continue fighting the good fight. I appreciate every one of you. And see y'all later.